What is irony? Is irony that little Caucasian kid, probably from the suburbs? Probably his parents have dual citizenship in Israel or Russia. And he's a white nationalist, huh? And they don't like, what is it, Muslims and Jews and Catholics, right? Down there at the bottom, we have the president of Kazakhstan, there on the right, Mr. Nur Sultan. Nur meaning north, Sultan. Okay? Do you think anything they tell us is going to give us a clue into anything that they're actually doing? Do you think they respect us that much? When do you think that happened? Because we fought World War II? Clearly, that hasn't made much of an impression. Oh, but that's just a meeting that was held in Kazakhstan under, basically the orchestration of Vladimir Putin. That doesn't really reflect anything that goes on within Russia. Well, you see, Vladimir Putin's friends with this guy named Kadyrov. And this guy named Kadyrov sent this guy, what's his name? Flemkovich Bastard Vili. Yeah, okay. And, he's an Islamic terrorist. And he's from Russia, also known as Georgia. See, all these places used to be part of the Soviet Union. Now, the most ironic thing about this isn't just that people supposedly wanting to make America great again are cowing to the very people that, are behind the corruption of everything that is corrupt. And it's not just that they're afraid of Islam and supporting the bastard who funds it, Islamic extremism, not Islam the faith or belief system, whatever it is, government structure. I don't know what it is. It's very interesting though, isn't it? And but the most ironic thing, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The most ironic thing isn't all that. It's that if you're Caucasian, despite what the fake science books told you, despite what the very confused college professors told you, you're not even a real white person. Now that's ironic. If you're Caucasian, you're not Anglican. You're not from Europe. You're from the Caucasus. There's quite a difference. You can usually spot them by their round heads like this guy has. Generally speaking, they have fucking bad attitudes. But it's not something that's ethnic, it's not something that's racial. They've been bred this way, selectively. And all it takes for a mass wave of infiltration to occur in this country is for people from those selectively bred areas that the Horde has gathered for thousands of years and cause them to want to migrate via a little economic strain and a little selective information exposure, which you might think of as propaganda, but is actually more reality scopic. It's basically like they have isolated areas beyond what we consider to be Europe in the magical island of Asia. And they're kept completely isolated culturally and informationally. And basically all they do is get sent to a place, and they can be relied upon to do a certain thing, to spread a certain ideology, to analyze what they take in from that new place in a certain way. And this was even done as far east as Ukraine in the 1940s and 50s, which I've discussed previously. But of course it goes back further. It goes back into the kidnapping of ancient races that predate humans. Which is the reason why we find ourselves in what seems to be a combination of logistical and political struggles, and one for our very souls, simultaneously. Ironic. I guess that's supposed to be amusing. But a moment's amusement is not much comfort, considering that cooperating with this Russian horde, we call it Russian because we don't know any better, cooperating with everything even this guy thinks is bad, and cooperating with even more that even we would agree is bad, we have an orangutan that for some reason Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell are still letting pretend to be president. See, I just assume they're pretending because they're not just sacks of shit lying on a curb. Last I checked, they are actually human beings. Although it is, tempting to think of them that way. Because not only did he not win the election, but he's a fucking traitor. He is literally a puppet of the Russian government. Now define a puppet. What is a puppet? A puppet is someone that fucking somebody else speaks through. What did Donald Trump do on the campaign? He constantly quoted Russian propaganda. Against who? Against his opponent? Just because he framed it that way, that is not the case. No, he quoted Russian propaganda, quoted Nazi propaganda against the United States of America, against our sitting government. He made irresponsible attacks one after the other during a time of aggression in Europe from the East. And how dare the Republicans cause a sequester when such things were going on? There is more widespread collusion than just Donald Trump and his administration. And the only people that can fix it are also guilty of it. That's why they haven't acted. But they need to repent. Because their crimes will be known. And they don't know how great the crimes that they have become involved with in order to win an election, they don't know how deep it goes. They don't know how high it reaches. Reached. Roach? I will smite you. Do you want to be smitten? Smoten? Anyways, so Maximo's back. Hi, Maximo. If anybody else is back, feel free to chime in. See, we got a few people watching. But what we have here are some ominous little events, folks. And it's about to get a whole lot more interesting. And I needed to do a little chat. Maybe if more people join us, maybe people can ask me some questions. Here's the deal. Let me see if I can't pull up an image right quick. Okay, maybe not right quick, but I'll get it sooner or later. I think. Where did it go? Okay. There, that'll work. So, there was a lot of hubbub about a series of eclipses and alignments starting in 2012. And, of course, we had signs and wonders in the sky and whatnot. I got a few more of those somewhere. Do I not have them on my phone here? Computer, whatever this is. What is this? This is a computer. Yeah. Oh, there's one of the signs and wonders in the heavens that happened to my wife, right as I was warning about the divisions in this country. Filmed a rainbow outside my house. My wife had just taken a picture of it on her way home. The rainbow appeared for her right in between two street signs. Hollywood and Evangeline. And if you can't get those reference, the left and the right, as it were, you probably think those are the same amount of people. Just kidding. But anyways, I was trying to find several images of my face coming down from the clouds. But we also have things like black holes caught on videotape and whatnot. You know, a bit. Did that? Oh, look, that showed up. Okay. And this is, you know, filmed over several frames from the day in which Lucifer was cast back into heaven to face his judgment. That particular devil, Lucifer, in reference, whether correct or not, refers to pride. Let me ask you this. How much pride, how much real pride have people had in their false religion in America? Like, the wrong way, you know? Have you noticed that? Do you know what I mean by that? I mean, the Republicans, for instance, while Donald Trump made a slogan of America first and make America great again, it was during this entire time period, since 2011, that not only did they lose their pride in America, but in order to do so, they also lost their pride in what was left of their Christian faith. At that point, it had devolved into a false religion that was religion for religion's sake. They, in a sense, worshipped the god of pride, not the God of love and creation and of forgiveness. And once that false god was defeated, the next false god had to be dealt with. But the defeat of the prideful arguments that kept the cognitive disconnects that I just demonstrated, for instance, from becoming apparent, those are gone. No more. I'm taking my daily aspirin because my wife tells me to. And I'm a good boy. Alright, so, anyway. This right here it looks like, and I know I've talked about this before, it looks like a rebel flag, doesn't it? Is it made to look like a rebel flag? Is it, first of all, is this made up? Did I concoct that in any way? No, I did not. You can, if you can find Ukraine News One's archived YouTube channel, you can see several videos. If you find the Donetsk People Republic in general, you can just confirm that that's their flag. Okay, so, I'm not making that up. That's a Russian with a rebel flag right there. Having invaded East Ukraine and claimed that they're a separatist movement. They're rebels. Rebel flag. See? That's what's known as the St. George Cross. And then, of course, it is a part of the Union Jack. This goes up and down, which is, what would you call that, a Templar cross? One thing that I've always kind of gotten chills by, a little phrase I've always gotten chills by, kind of knew that it meant something, didn't quite know what it meant, is X marks the spot. And it was in 2011 that I was watching a video in which somebody had noticed what people were pointing out on Twitter today, is that this eclipse and the eclipse to come 7 years succeeding later sorry. The eclipse that is about to happen is going to go from California, no doubt about it, to the East Coast. Somebody's here. Okay, well, the Merface is here. How pretty she looks, all dressed up for work. And so ladylike, too.
I'm a lady, Mer.
Okay, so we're going to have to take a break, but I didn't want to tease you too much, so let me just explain in case you haven't been made aware already. The pattern of one eclipse is going to go this way, diagonally. The other eclipse is going to form an X right over the center of the continental United States.
7 years later.
And,
Sorry.
my friends on here, y'all know I can be a smartass, right? I mean, have you noticed? The center
You?
is Springfield, Illinois. Dope! Guess I should mute this.
Please do.
Can't live with all your lies until the day that you awaken. The blood of your own soul is still on your hands, forsaken, still running, no escaping. In your mind you see me facing, there's no patronage for patrons, but my patience tells no lies. Prophet thing of evil, prophet still, if not my lover. So you ran and you took cover from the concerns of your life. And all I want is for you to see what you want is supposed to be. And all I need is for you to pray, for the way is the truth and the life is the way. You won't find another way. Take it back. Don't you cry, don't you speak, I don't care what you say. Take my mind and my heart, you throw it all away. Take your lies, take your hate, and then get the fuck away. Push me once, don't look back, just lie back and fade away. You'll come back again, you won't repeat your sin, but you're not welcome anymore. Take it back, all those plastic dreams and lies you can't sustain. Take it back, what you'll really do is never what you say. Take back all your promises and throw the truth away. Push me what, don't look back, just lie back and fade away. Now you've got me by your talents and the love that you were meant. When your words were only spoken to be broken, you were scripted. You meant what you had promised, you hold fast and show me proof. But instead you ran away, I guess you never liked the truth. Take the knife of all your virtues out, what's left pure in my heart. Your intentions fail to mention that the lies would ever start. Prophet thing of evil, prophet still, if not my lover. Don't you know there is no other, you still let us fall apart. You'll come back again, you won't repeat your sin, but you're not welcome anymore. Take it back, all those plastic dreams and plastic dreams. Take it back, what you'll really do is never what you say. Take it back, all your promises, throw the truth away. Take it back, don't look back, just lie back and fade away. Take it back, what you do, what you say. Take it back, what you do, what you say. I don't care what you do, what you say. I don't care what you do, what you say. Get back, I don't care what you do, what you say. Take it back, I don't care what you do, what you say. I don't care what you say. I don't care.
Okay, we're taking a brief intermission. DVR mode is enabled, so you should be able to back up and see what you've missed if you're just joining us. I've been live streaming for a while, so I needed a break anyways. Enjoy the music, and I'll be back in about 5-10 minutes or so.
it's okay now that you broke my heart. You finally found someone else to devour a brand new start. My perfect angel, how could you be such a disgrace? And how could I have been so easy to replace? But now I'm with someone that's all to you're not there. I looked deep inside my fears and I found out where. Before you play your games with me, there's something you should know. I always knew your thoughts just didn't want to spoil your show. But it's okay now, I'll just sit and fucking stare. I can barely remember you, 'cause you were never there. I can only wonder how I let it last so long. I should have took the clue when you knew what you were doing was so wrong. Why do you still think you can hide your thoughts from me? You're the one who will suffer your lies. I'll just let you be. I tried to warn you so many times I cannot count. But without my love to guide you, you had better break for a way out. You better pray for a way out. But it's okay now, I'll just fade away. And I can't help you anymore, there's nothing left to say. But it's okay now, I'll just let the demons have you. But if God wills, I'll still be here for you to run to. Doesn't matter if it's wrong or if it's right. It don't matter if it's wrong or right to you. you. My perfect angel, how could she just fade away? I can't help you anymore, there's nothing left to say.
key right now? E major. You might want to do A. Mm-hmm.
try real hard. Play my cards right, baby, not at all. Here it comes, coming to you. I'm finding, baby, what's deep in you. I'm trying to find myself in this great world with this bad hell. Trying to find me too in the midst of the ills I see. Then I know the Holy Ghost, but it tries to get me close. I'm going to a place where I won't find nobody but you. I'm trying to not lose my cool, but it's a coming and I can't stop loving you. I can't stop loving you. I can't stop loving you. Peace of mind deep inside, but it's coming, baby, and you can't hide. I'm trying to find you where some baby out with the long brown hair. Come on, girl, come to me. I want you, baby, more than you can see. I'm coming hard. It's a coming, baby, you can't stop. Baby, can't stop loving you. I don't, baby, no, I can't stop loving you. I can't, baby, no, can't stop loving you. I can't stop loving you.
How's this? Oh, that does not look right. Okay. Oh, okay. That just happened. And on that bombshell, no. crap. What are those things? So, that was special. In a very special, special way. And, just when I thought I was going to be able to get right back into the conversation, you know? I thought maybe if I spoke in a British accent, I would feel smarter. So, hey Sean, didn't see you there. Really is a nice name you got there, man. It never gets old because it was too old to begin with. So. I'm singeing the tip, which is what happens when you dip your penis in hot coffee. And if you don't believe me, I can prove this to you in song form. Penises in coffee shops, coffee shops, coffee shops, penises in coffee shops, so won't you come inside? Penises in coffee shops, coffee shops, coffee shops, penises in coffee shops, so won't you come inside? Stick it in, I dare you to, dare you to, dare you to, stick it in, I dare you to, dare you to. Ah! See, that's how the song goes. So, don't do that, it hurts. Eclipses, yeah, okay. Yeah, there was a subject to this video. So, I forgot. And you can thank a girl I dated when I was 15 or so, 16, maybe 17. I think she was 15, I was 17. The cradle robber. That was weird. Okay. No more Alvin and the Chipmunks music. No, it wasn't Alvin and the Chipmunks music. I know. So, eclipses, eclippi, eclipipoo, and of course, you know what? When we think about eclipses, we think about, well, how the fuck does that work? But I've already explained that. I think solar eclipses are the more easy one to explain. But I just wanted to put this little thing up here just for a second. Just for a second, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 15, 127. And if it winds up being 1,527, it's going to be hilarious. And compare it to something else that you've seen before on the channel. Something nearby that little meeting we were talking about earlier. In fact, it is that meeting. And that would be taking place in here, adjacent to this structure. The one where all these people that, you know, look like Trump supporters to me, being sarcastic, and it's like, those are rabbis, right? Are they walking into a bar? Is this about to be a joke? I don't know. But see, this all happened there. And inside of there, if this is in the big tent thing, I believe. And in the pyramid, I think, I'm really not sure. I'm mostly just guessing on what I've seen, what I've been able to, space out from the internal photographs that I've seen. I didn't collect them all, I don't have time to resize and appropriate and copy shit over from phone to desktop to laptop and make sure it's backed up on shit sitting on my shelf. And, yeah, anyway. But if it does make it that far, it doesn't make it on here because that's just tedious. What does that look like at a first glance? Does that look like a roulette wheel? Well, they have this thing called the Flat Earth Dome model. That looks like a roulette wheel. And I don't know if you realize this, but the United States hasn't sent a single person to space since 2011. Not one. It's funny how Flat Earth blew up after that, isn't it? Isn't it? Well, this is not a Flat Earth video, that's for sure. But suffice to say, I think I've proven in the past couple of years that the promotion of Flat Earth theory was one of many avenues in which the Russian Shilliverse began to propagandize people against the United States government. Rather unfairly, I might add, considering that the only American astronauts that ever get to go into space anymore have to go to Kazakhstan. And what do we know about Kazakhstan? Well, that's where this shit is. That's exactly where this shit is. This is Kazakhstan. And what's more is when you view this little area from above, it becomes, much more interesting. And I've shown that on previous videos, but I guess I could go ahead and show it again, since this is turning out to be a nice little summative spiel here. So you have to go to Kazakhstan to get into space. But then, if you go to Kazakhstan and you're flying up in a rocket, what do you see? What do you see? Does that look like the baby Jesus to you? So, nail in the coffin, as if I haven't proven it enough times, day by day, pointing out action by action in real time how these people were deceiving you, how they were both promoting and mocking anyone who thought the earth was flat at the same time. Because you understand that they and their trolls all came from the same little fucking areas in Russia and Canada. And what were they hiding? What were they covering up? Well, the voice of the accuser would lead you the same place the evidence does. The establishment of a new world order, of a one-world government. The finalization, coincidentally, of prophecy. Whose prophecy? Well, just about fucking everyone's. But how it's written depends on who it's being preached to. If you're the few chosen that see the truth in the end, you're not going to be on their side. And what your prophecy says is that the world will become deceived and enslaved. But you know what their prophecy says? You know what their prophecy says? It basically says the same thing from a different perspective. It says that they are going to conquer the world. A 1,000 years after the man of sin sets foot in the Holy of Holies. One of their founding figures. I believe in that story his name was something to do with salad dressing. But here you have a time in which all are being deceived. In which many have been led to lust after a certain nation's power and influence, their resources, their oil, in a lot of cases their weaponry. And of course, when it comes to rare things, only Russia can provide. Any group of smugglers, any group of people traffickers, artifact trackers, these days, you know, used to be the British, I know. Or, I mean, it should be pretty well known, ivory trafficking. Goes to Russia. Oddly enough, a lot of it gets sold through the Israel Russians. 1.8 million Russians just flocked to Israel when the Cold War ended. And I don't think all of them were fleeing persecution. I think they were fleeing persecution. They wouldn't want to go and be surrounded by a bunch of people that hated them. They'd come here. But I'm sure a lot of them had their reasons. Just saying. It's pretty obvious from the logistical and tactical effects of that situation that many people from the land of Nod made their return to Israel of late. So anyways, the point I'm trying to make is about what they know. How much do they know? How long has this been planned? Is this something that a modern KGB officer came up with? Or is this an age-old struggle for the very existence of civilization? Well, X marks the spot. You understand? Is it a cult that has existed longer than any nation? Obviously, children. And if you cannot get that through your heads, you cannot make yourself capable of seeing the actions of what you don't believe exists. Which is why you keep on getting surprised by things. Should I show more of this little necropolis? Hey, look! It's the Nazi protesters in Virginia. Wait, what? That's a rebel flag. No, that's a Russian flag. No, that's a same thing. That's already gone back to 1850. Okay? Before it comes here. Find it in East Germany. It's a Prussian thing. And that's just, what we knew of. Let's see if I can find, there we go. The zoom ins. There's the face. And in 2011, see that series of 3 circles at the bottom? I filmed a UFO, posted on YouTube, a UFO that basically looked exactly like that, oddly enough. Complete with the red on one side and the blue on the other. That was kind of a shape-shifting archdemon. Just saying. Archangel, Arcness. Archimond. So here's sort of a broad cross-section. City of Astana in Kazakhstan. Named for the evil goddess Hathor, or Hazor. Also billed in some slightly or very misguided conspiracies. as being I'm trying to get the image. Damn it, where is it? As being Khazaria. Okay? It's right in there. Right in the middle of this very historically interesting place. And if you'll notice, that's where the Caucasians come from. With their round heads. Isn't that a funny round head that guy's got too? A round head. Oh, look at Putin. He's got a round head too. Nothing this way at all. Just kind of... That's a different kind of white guy. Interesting, isn't it? And it comes from this place that's predominantly Islamic. And in fact, that whole area, I mean, that's where these guys came from, you know? Chechens. And it goes back a very long time. There's this consistent tactical knowledge that exists. Is it magical prophecy? Is it a bunch of different people of religions happening to coordinate together? Or is it an ancient cult that has kept knowledge to itself? The Horde. They manufacture religions for the sole purpose of maintaining and wielding power. And that includes many political religions. And for a long time, we just kind of turned a blind eye to all of it. We just didn't want to know, didn't want to see all the shit that was going on. There wasn't an Iron Curtain anymore. There was just, it's too far. No. It's been quite difficult for quite some time to get reliable information out of that vast region in the center of the Earth. And people who have promoted different shape of the Earth models, coining such terms, have done so to deceive you and blind you. Now, surely we can find architectural, we can find astrological, and we can find religious textual evidence that this conspiracy of world conquest, this plan of world conquest, including the knowledge that it would ultimately end here in America, we have evidence that it goes back a long way, wouldn't you say? Possibly even before the so-called discovery of America, wouldn't you say? So you're ruling out what you can easily explain. It has to be prophetic on some level for all these things to have lined up in this way. And there's more. I mean, this is just what I can think of randomly on the top of my head. I don't have any kind of list of what to do or talk about on this video. I'm hoping it all makes sense when it's done. I know the chances aren't very good, but you know, I try. So then you have the situation that we're in. One group of people, the people that are being conquered, up until they lost their way and then even lost their pride, thought that Jesus was going to come back, but he wasn't going to have to tell you that, because he said that nobody who says their name is Jesus could possibly be Jesus. And they were false prophets. Not just that they were lying, but that the people who would do that are false prophets. Now, one possible interpretation is that God's going to come back and break his own rules and essentially undo creation by undoing free will itself. That is to say, God will appear on the clouds to everyone at once and say, "Obey me now." And that just seems really tacky to me. Wait, I have a rare surprise. I have a rare gift. I have something minor that you would think I'd be too embarrassed to show, but I'm only going to show it on the little corner of the screen right here, because people really misunderstand me quite quickly and then move on, and that's really detrimental to the health of your soul, your very existence, your human family, your future, everything, pretty much everything. And one of those things is people don't think like that I was like, a cool person, or that I'm just like a guy that you could hang out with, etc. Like, for instance, I don't know, people might not think that I'm really from New Orleans, for instance. Or that I ever went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's me at the age of 13. Dressed as Frankenfurter. But before you go making fun of me for being fruity, I'm not. I wouldn't have any problem admitting if I was, but I wore a biker vest and black boxer shorts under the garter belts and fishnets, and it was largely participating in that was largely a way for me to meet chicks. I mean, frankly. My wife is going to hate me for that, you're saying that, but, she's also going to hate me for what I'm about to show you, just in case you're thinking, I should be trolled. That was my prom date. My wife hates that photo and probably is going to burn that now that I've shown you. So I'm just going to set it aside so she can go ahead and do that. Anyways. Remember the story I told about when I climbed up, or saw the rock outcropping, and I climbed up and I got to see Mount Rushmore as a random coincidence that happened? That's the same mountain, a different pull-off that we stopped at in South Dakota. And that's me. Big, tall, lanky fucking dork. And of course, if you don't believe I've always been kind of a badass, too, you know, I've always been on both sides of the aisle, as it were, that's for sure. I was an early 90s skateboarder. And I don't have the photo of me with a rebel flag bandana on in the French Quarter. It should be somewhere around here, but it's not in this little pile I have. But here's me with a Marlboro hat when I'm 11 years old, installing a stereo in my mom's Peugeot. When I was 11 years old, I could probably whoop your ass. And I mean that in the nicest way. I had a very interesting, if you want to call it a childhood, I guess you could. But I've always gotten along with just about everybody, you know? And it's kind of painful for me to see different groups of people going at each other. I went to 21, well, not, I changed schools 21 different times, okay? I went back to the same school twice, so it's actually 19 schools total. And I have clicked with everything from basketball teams, yes, to like little groups of Mexicans who like were in a gang war with the black kids, to like one school where I didn't have many friends and there was just this one Filipino guy named Fong that I hung out with every day. I went to his house, like, another school I went to, there was a guy named Kenneth who was from Vietnam. Hung out with him almost all the time. And I've hung, you know, obviously I have actually, believe it or not, hung out with other white people before. No, obviously. But I've always tried to empathize with the good in people wherever I could find good people. You know what I mean? And that's how I know that even in these little fucks, you know, not that guy, not that guy, but these guys, even in these little fuckers, okay, there is a trace of good intention. And that's why I try to point out all the risky things that I point out, all the, you know, taboo subjects that I cover. Because, I mean, when it all comes down to it, no one's more racist than God. But instead of hating everybody equally, he loves everybody equally. Okay? What he doesn't like is abomination, confusion, enslavement, incarceration, and usury of an entire family of God's children that were ordained by God to have a certain culture, to have a certain skin color. And the armies of the North, the armies of the center, of media, come and wipe their cultures out and take them in as slaves. And that's how we wind up with Caucasians. Not real white people. They look white. They think they're white. But the limitation of their whiteness is that they don't get to be racist. And I know it's risky to point out that irony there, but, you know, you can't accuse me accurately of any malicious intent. Because again, I just showed you the photo of me dressed up to go play fucking Frankenfurter at the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You want to see it again? Anyways. So, I'm going to sum it up with basically one eclipse comes this way, one eclipse comes this way, and this is where the fucking Simpsons are filmed, and we're all gonna die. So, yeah. Like a Kiss member. That's funny. So, feel free to chat away, my bully boys, or whatever. Woohoo, showing 8 people in here. How about that? And apparently plugging in the webcam while I'm streaming is not a good idea. Although I could do it again, just to see if the chickmunk thing happens. Set. Okay. I know that was fascinating. We're gonna move on. Oh, it worked! Cool. Oh. Alien chickmunks. Well, Emily, this is definitely going to be one worth watching. It's very summative, and might even be worth sharing with some people who need to catch up. And considering everything that's about to happen, you're looking at a last chance for enlightenment before darkness comes. Yeah, I think I should post that Rocky Horror Picture Show thing and tag Rachel Maddow in it, just so she knows I'm like, rainbow family friendly. Not family friendly, just rainbow family friendly. Friendly. Like Wilford Brimley. I have diabetes. Springfield, alien chickmunks, Eclipse, we're all fucked. Yep, you pretty much got it. Camera is not available, so all you single ladies out there who are hoping to I'm a moron. I'm sorry. I apologize. So anyways. What we're looking at here isn't just a government that doesn't like us because we did bad things to us. They don't like us because we're the last vestige of Christianity in Western civilization. They don't like us, something to do with the prophecies that they've promoted in the hadiths and whatnot. They basically say, in the end, and this has kind of been interpreted as in order to make the Mahdi, the end-time prophet, the final judge during execution or whatever, be revealed, come out of the woodwork, whatever happens, they have to conquer the world. Okay, so when you think about these people saying that they're going to conquer all, and they're going to dominate, it's because they're trying to bring about end times prophecy. So, what I said on the little fish video earlier was that, you know, we can kind of skip all the bullshit and cut right to the chase. If you want. Because two things necessary for that to, you know, be acceptable, right? Me. And their objective being completed. Now, do you think that God would require the slaughter of all your enemies for that objective to be completed? Or could it be completed upon what is obviously a technical knockout of the United States of America by your true masters, Russia? Oh, look at my belly. I got a fucking gut showing. Check that out. Looks like I'm fat. It's my back pillow, making my front stretch out. Not that I'm in terribly great shape or anything. But I've given a lot of warnings, trying to convince myself that somehow, some way, somebody would listen and help me fix things. But they had this objective, you see. Okay? And at the root of the evil, that is not the objective. Okay, the objective is actually to conquer the world and for the Antichrist, their king, to be the king of all. And I don't mean the Antichrist Trump, I mean his master, Putin. But if any of them are watching, You don't need to send this message to your masters. You just need to plead with your peers. Let this slaughter stop before it starts. Let the tribulation come in the form of a renaissance and a revival. I give these warnings in good faith. I make these pleas in good faith, in hope, in desperate hope. But I'm not naive. I saw this happening thousands of years ago. And here I come to play my part. Do you think you will be rewarded for yours? Anyways. Just stop it. Your mission should be to testify of my return, unless you seek to undo free will. Because that is what has been happening while you have refused to listen to me. Free will itself is being whittled away at. And you will all be slaves. And there will be nowhere for me to deliver you to. We know what they're going to do. You don't need me to prophesy again, do you? We know what they're going to do because they've announced it in their accusations. They're going to destroy most of humanity so that the elite can have their paradise. I say to you right now, I can lead you to a world that can be populated by 12 billion people, and the Gulf of Mexico can sustain Radianthus ritteri anemones and Acropora. If you're not familiar with this, those are difficult species of reef invertebrate. I don't want fame, glory, none of that. I just want kids to listen and be taught and take care of what they've been given. And what do you have in exchange for that? The ending of free will. Doesn't seem like much of a choice to me, but you can cast your die in whatever direction you wish. The result for me, ultimately, will be the same. And may I remind you that to me, this is the blink of an eye. And I will bat none for those who strike out. Anyway. Boy, I sure got on my soapbox there, didn't I? That's what I get for sitting in my little meditative stance there. Questions? Comments? Total freakouts? I think it's about time for me to call it a night. You know, from last night when I didn't sleep. Rotifer alarm just went off. It's a sign. Eat it, Joe's. Okay, so that being said, and you know, that was a mouthful, all right. A brainful, an earful, cup full of warm piss. I don't know. Whatever it was full. And how does it relate to what's going on today in this country? I've made it pretty clear what needs to happen. And I referred to exactly that when I said the words revival and renaissance. Could we have that, you think? Could we have a revival of faith that caused a renaissance? Easily. The only thing that needs to happen is for Vladimir Putin's minions to stop. And for those who have trespassed against their own nation in enabling the enslavement of the United States of America to a foreign power, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, you are to do what it is prophesied that you should do. And that goes for many of Vladimir Putin's minions. It goes for all those who are deceived in the end times, doesn't it? Repent, for the end is at hand. Yeah, revival does sound good. It makes me want to listen to Carmen. Revival is coming to our land. Holy Ghost is moving like a hurricane. I don't have the gumption for that right now. I can't even snap my fingers because I'm holding a cigarette. Well, you can snap, but then you burn yourself. That's really not worth the musical quality of a finger snap. And you know, I could be like creating alternate universes and shit. So, Jesus joke, you gotta love those. Anyway, but what's gotta happen? It's quite simple. Those who say still that they're Christians need to admit that they're not really Christians. They don't need to admit it to everybody. They need to repent of what they've done wrong. But they need to admit to themselves that they have been misguided and misled to their very cores. What makes them, or what would make them, good people has been taken from them. And it's not something that they can take back. It is the bread of life that has been given to you. All you have to do is pick it up and eat it. the people who come here and watch every day, they will tell you just what Pedro did. They were being complexly and cleverly and strategically deceived until they found this channel. Here at the end of all things, among the other ways I have circumstantially catered to your vanity by proving myself, that is the only proof you should need. For what is it said that I would return to do? I would wield the sword of truth, a sword with two edges. A two-edged sword cuts the wielder. But what else is it said that I would do? Make the blind see. Can you hear me now? Anyway, I'm gonna go get drunk. I mean, no, wait, no. I'm gonna take a nap. So, I'll at least try to. It's about to get really hot in this house because the AC don't quite work well enough to fight off the heat wave here. So I got to keep my fan faced towards the aquarium because better me overheating than the fish tank. And anyways, that's about all I have to say. Just that anyone who's been watching Fox News needs to realize that unless you know the difference between Old and New Covenants, you don't know Christianity, so you don't know me. Okay? RT, Russian propaganda, all those things that make you angry, nothing to do with me. So why would you expect to be able to perceive me until you've learned those lessons? Anyways. I'm going to go ahead and, yes, call it a broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching me. Please click the little thumbs up button and the little bell icon thing so you get notified if that's at all possible. And check your subscription. Make sure you're subscribed. Y'all take it easy. Peace.
In my heart and baby down in my soul. You baby, you can't take it no more. No, I know